Oh, dang, you guys. It's time for another episode. It's episode 12 of Nick and Lars Have Notes.
It's the best intro we've ever recorded, it's great already.
I really just hit the button without thinking about it too much, and I think I scared myself just a little bit.
Here we are in beautiful ArcLight Cinemas in Hollywood, California.
Oh, yeah, this is a loud theater compared to where we normally record.
It's true.
It took us a while to find a quiet-ish corner.
Yeah, but listen to these acoustics.
Oh, man, it's Sausage Party tonight, and we have guest stars! I should probably say that the movie is called Sausage Party.
Because it's not quite a sausage party.
It's not quite a sausage party.
It is 75% sausage party.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lars, who are our guests today?
Our guests tonight are Meggan and Ray of Noob Trek. I think I mentioned on the last episode that I was a guest star on their podcast.
And those went up this week.
They have gone up.
Yeah.
This week? No, last week.
Yes, last week.
Yes, but
But who knows when we're going to upload this one? So 1 week is very relative.
Last week on a personal
Yeah,
timeline.
by the time this goes up, it's going to be more like 2 weeks.
Yeah, but then maybe we'll have a new one that was a week old by then.
Yeah. Well, I was on the episodes of Noob Trek for the Ultimate Computer and Bread and Circuses. So those are already up.
Yes.
Yeah, and
You can find them at
last week.
noobtrek.squarespace.com.
Yeah.
The O's are zeros.
O's are zeros. Oh,
Yep.
Tim's not here to do it.
That's
Or
okay.
complain about it being on Twitter.
Yeah, but yeah, no. When I was there, I said Sausage Party, and you were like, "Oh, I want to see that," and I was like, "Well, you can be guest star because we don't have one for that one."
Amazing segue this is going to be. What are your guys' expectations for the film?
I have been doing research, not like heavy research, but like, let's look at Rotten Tomatoes and see what people are saying. And like, it's doing surprisingly well.
Okay.
And all the people that I've seen posting up about it are like, yeah, it explores some really deep themes while being food.
It explores deep
typical
themes.
of that group of comedians to explore those dark themes with heart.
These were also coming from surprisingly reputable sources. So normally I would have seen these people as like, no, it's a Seth Rogen movie.
Yeah. It's weird that this is being reviewed as well as it is when generally this kind of movie is critic repellent, basically. It's
True,
like,
but
a crude animated film.
But it's premised based off a food fight.
Anybody who's like a professional critic is going to consider themselves above this.
Right.
Yeah. And that's a good point. This is basically like...
So people are going to have that in their heads as they're watching this, so it apparently transcends its inspiration.
Could Food Fight have helped this movie by setting the bar lower than it's ever been?
Food Fight. What was Food Fight?
Oh, man.
Oh, boy. Do yourself a favor and watch at least a trailer for that.
Yeah, see how far into it you can get
It's
before you
infamously
have to
bad
run
movie.
from the screen. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Well, my expectations for this, I don't research things before I go into see movies. I like to be, and actually I've only seen like 2 trailers for this one. I was just like, ooh, yeah, Seth Rogen and all of them. I typically like them, not always, but typically. So, and I was like, oh, great, animated. It should be fun. And the trailer looked cute. So.
Okay.
I think I've only seen one trailer, and I forget how drunk I was when I saw it. So, I don't know.
All right. I think going into it, it'll at least be really fun. It's interesting that I guess there's more to it, and I'm looking forward to that as well. I'm expecting just to laugh.
Yeah.
If nothing else.
It's weird because it's like, how can like this be? It's an adult comedy, R-rated, with Seth Rogen, a bunch of others, about food, and it's like nothing about that should add up to a good movie, and yet I keep hearing that it's supposed to be more than just a laugh,
like,
that it's going to actually be all
I don't want to
right.
give too much away of what I saw if you guys haven't read it.
Yeah, don't.
Because I didn't read like reviews or any specific information.
You'll have your opportunity to impart that stuff after the movie.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I'll give you guys plenty.
probably. There will be a spoiler cutoff, and then you'll just be able to say whatever you want.
Well, that's the thing is I don't know plot details. I only know the theme.
Okay. Well, again, Probably after the
holding up
movie.
there.
Probably after
Well,
the
I
movie.
mean, that whole group, once again, they play with those themes, like in Into
Is
the
the
World.
End.
This is the end.
This is the End and End of the World are two movies that came out at about the same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very upsetting, very confusing. Please
Very
continue.
confusing. For exactly those reasons.
Both are really good though.
Yes, they are. But
You know, I meant to watch that one. I never did.
Which one?
This is the end,
This
or
is the End.
Into the World, or World's End. World's End.
I did
That's
see.
the
I
event.
did see At World's End.
Yeah.
Oh wait, or
I
is that
did
the Pirates of the
enjoy that
Caribbean one?
No. That okay.
World's End.
Okay, you know what? At World's End is
Lost
Pirates of
World
the
Jurassic
Caribbean. At World's End.
Jesus Christ.
And then the
I think it's
Cornetto
It's End of the World.
is
The End of the
the
World?
World's End. The World's End, I believe, is the title of the movie.
I don't.
Because the name of the bar is the World's End,
Yeah.
and it's the 12th stop on their
Yeah.
pub crawl.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
your
with This
point.
is the End, like you're still dealing with very religious, like they brought in religious stuff, and you're dealing with like life and death and all of that. So they were playing with those themes. They play
Okay.
with dark themes already, and then you look at Knocked Up, like this is an unwed mother, you know, it's a one night stand where she happened to get pregnant. Also kind of a dark theme. And her still maintaining her being able to be an independent woman and all of that stuff. So like the Judd Apatow gang tends to do comedy, these slapsticky comedies with heart, but also still talks about very real issues.
But I guess the thing that saves this one over some of the other poorer entries that they've made is that the laugh to gag ratio is fairly high, as opposed to having too many jokes fall flat or get really boring. So I hear we're gonna find out.
We'll find out.
Oh. Okay, so yeah, it's a lot of ideas, a lot of speculation. We'll I guess we'll find out. Oh, and hey, the old disclaimer. I'm bringing it back.
Oh, great. Yeah, we forgot to do that last couple ones.
Well, the last couple of ones were live action, and I didn't care. But
Okay.
This is an animated movie, and people work real hard to make these animated movies. You know, so we just want to say to those people who worked on it, hey,
sorry in advance.
Yeah, sorry in advance for being mean to your movie and judging you.
We couldn't do it.
Yeah, we don't know you. Why are you listening to us for? Jeez.
How do you know it's the animator's fault?
It
It could be the writers.
all of them.
that really
All
Could be
you
the
know what?
producers,
In this
the
case,
directors.
I'm using animation people as just a catch-all for everyone involved in this animated movie.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All of them folks.
Worked on
Not-
my fair share of
Yeah.
crappy movies.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sure y'all worked really hard on this movie.
Yep.
And we're very sorry. Okay.
Unless it's good, in which case you're welcome.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah. So yeah, all of those things. So I guess we're gonna go get some snacks and watch this movie and come back and we'll let you guys know how it went.
Ka-ching.
All right.
Excelsior.
Okay. Bye guys.
That's when you sign off.
I like
I
it.
think that's Stan Lee's sign off.
No, it's mine now.
Oh,
I
Let's
think
see
that's
when's up more popular.
what, more of a catchphrase with Stanley.
he's-
I
Fair
think.
enough.
He's gonna die soon enough and pass it on. to
Yeah,
someone.
no, pass the torch on to me.
Now you're making me sad. So hey guys, we're back. We just got out of a sausage party, but before we dive into it, I want to say, a lot of the time in terms of spoiler versus spoiler free, sometimes we watch a movie, and I'm like, who gives a shit about the story for this movie? Let's just jump straight into spoilers. Who cares? Sometimes, like in the case of our review of Anomalisa, I felt like spoilers were really going to hurt your appreciation of the story, and we had a very thorough general review before we got into the meat of the story, and I think that this movie, and I didn't think I would say this, but I think this movie warrants
A spoiler warning?
a thorough spoiler-free review and then a clear cut before we dive into the spoilers. So
Yeah, there's a lot of twists and turns and reveals.
Yeah.
Even thematically, that we don't. It's hard to touch on without spoiling the whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. You're almost gonna enjoy this movie more the less you know about it, I feel like. But yeah, so anyway, spoiler free just in the most general terms. How did everybody enjoy the movie, just in the broadest sense?
In the broadest sense, I mean, it was fun. I probably wouldn't ever watch it again.
That's fair. Yeah, it was fun while we were in the theater, but it's not like you're gonna glean more things from it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, it's a rich storyline.
not as much depth as I might have expected in some of it from what I had heard.
Oh.
In that, I think some of the conversations that happen in there, and I know for a movie like this is a strange adjective to put on it. And when I say strange, I think you'll know what I mean. But it was more juvenile than I expected in its attacking those themes.
Yeah.
I think they
can see what
definitely
you're talking
touched
about.
on a lot of different, quote unquote, like dark or more complex things, but they never really commented on it. It was just like, hey, look at, here's the thing.
Yeah, they had those typical conversations that you have when you're talking about those issues.
But,
So it
but
just-
there's nothing to learn from it, really.
So while it was interesting and I don't want to say unexpected, but while it was interesting and presented in a novel way, we'll go with that. It wasn't particularly insightful. That being said,
I did discuss it.
That being said, I laughed enough at it
Oh, absolutely.
to merit the cost.
I laughed at it a lot. I don't know if my expectations in terms of depth were lower than all of yours. I think that I heard that there was more to it than you would expect from an R-rated cartoon about food products, but I think I just never quite bought that. Maybe it's because I didn't read an article, but going in, I was impressed by the depth of the story, because I guess even hearing all those good things before going into the movie, I still on some level couldn't quite believe that this movie would be about anything.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. And it goes to show how your expectations can influence your experience of a
For
movie.
sure.
And it's filled with all the ridiculous genital food puns that you would expect to have.
I laughed a lot. There were a lot of things where it was really good puns. Also, just the way people said things,
The acting was really tight.
Yeah.
The deliveries were hilarious.
It's
Especially
funny.
Seth Rogen.
It's funny. Yeah, and it's. You don't think that curses are going to be funny in and of themselves, and really they're kind of not. It's kind of the way you say it.
Oh, see,
Well,
I think they lean too heavily on cursing.
I felt like they
Because
did
after a
more
while, I was
cursing in
like,
the beginning.
Yeah.
Or did I just notice it less as the
I
movie
think you
went on?
noticed it less because after a while I was just like, great, it's the hot dog
I think
that's
it's-
saying fuck.
I think
Who
it's
cares?
because it's the Pixar theme where you in your mind the whole time you're like, yeah, it's a kids movie, but it's not.
Yeah.
Obviously, and they remind you of that all the time, but still the aesthetic just constantly makes you think oh yes, this is.
The animation was really good.
The animation was really
Oh,
good.
I loved the flashback. How they changed that.
You talking about the 2D section? Mm-hmm. That was really fun.
Yeah. But also just the animation in this is it's really cartoony. It's in a way that I've only really seen from I want to say Sony in terms of Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah, and the human characters are really bizarre looking
Yeah,
too.
they're really caricatured, and I really liked that actually. They were really funny looking, and it really made me laugh.
I will say, and maybe this is because they are a new studio, but it did look very 3D. It wasn't lit the way that we would expect a Pixar film or a modern Disney film to be, but it worked for what it was because the designs were so cartoonish.
Yeah, that's
totally fine.
That's a good point. Yeah, the lighting maybe we've seen better lighting. Yeah, it's not the best
Some might bring
animation.
Frozen as far as lighting.
They're
But fuck that movie.
they're animated.
Jeez.
There are movies.
Let's get into that later.
There are movies that are much better animated, but for what it was, I was impressed.
Totally.
I think they really missed something with working with the background, because if you're watching Pixar movies or those, there's always something in every single scene, something really funny that happens in the background that's not the focus.
What is it
of
that they say? Every frame a
picture?
picture, and this didn't do that. Yeah, there was
No,
heavy
that
focus.
It was very sparse.
It was very, very focused on the characters, but I tend to pay extra attention to characters during movies anyway. So again, it was well suited to me.
And when it comes to things like character development too, it's pretty cut and dry. Don't expect Oscar award-winning business coming out of the writing here.
There's a character named Douche.
Yep.
Imagine
he is a
what you
douche.
will.
Yeah.
He's that
Quite literally.
that hygienic product. So to what degree would you recommend this movie?
I guess see it. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. Okay,
But then
see-
maybe you don't need the DVD. 'Cause
Yeah, I
yeah.
think-
it's a
I
Nick,
one-time watch.
Nick says, "I guess see it."
Yeah, I would say see it when it shows up at a theater that's less expensive than the one that we saw.
Yeah.
Thinking maybe like a matinee.
Yeah, grab a matinee.
Grab a
maybe
matinee.
maybe see it at a Cinemark with nice seats.
Yeah, the
Uh,
reclining seats.
But you're not going to not like it, especially if you're aware of what the Seth Rogen movie is going to be like.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe if, like last episode, maybe you had a little bit to drink. Maybe you would be exponentially more.
Yeah,
and,
we,
you
we
know-
are seeing this kind of cold sober. We came straight from work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not me.
Well, Those of us who are working
One
today.
drink wasn't going to do it for me.
No,
So.
but
Sorry,
in-
Mom and Dad.
You guys did have a couple drinks.
But in terms of like where I would put it on kind of the Seth Rogen movie hierarchy, it's definitely like above Pineapple Express for me. Like I don't like those kinds
So
of ones.
high on the
I like
Seth
Pineapple
Rogen.
Express.
Seth Rogen
420
pun.
plays it.
And other people do, but like the heavily marijuana-based movies don't have as much for me.
I grew up in Austin, so
Well, but definitely below like Superbad, which was still the same crew.
I love Superbad.
Definitely below that, and maybe one or two others. But top five-ish. How many Seth Rogen movies are there? I don't
who
know.
knows?
I don't know.
I'd give it like a C+.
Okay.
Because I mean, if it's
It's still beyond passing.
if you're
I mean-
into this kind of movie, I guarantee you're going to love it. They shouldn't have had the conversation about having the conversation. They should have had the conversation with the themes that they were going for, which we've all said. I think they, like I said earlier, lean too heavily on cursing. It's like after a while, okay, got it. And there are a couple other things that I was like, it was okay. But I mean, I laughed. There were definitely some funny bits. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a fair point to mention that the movie is definitely more plot driven than character driven. They're going on an adventure.
Sure. But
yeah.
It's Toy Story.
I had a pretty good time. I think if you would consider seeing this movie, then make the time. You know, if you were gonna see any R-rated animated movie, this is probably gonna be the very best one. You know, and that's including any recent entries I can think of. You know, like I
I
mean,
can't
it's
think of
pretty.
any R-rated animated movies.
What
What was Team America when it came
Team
out?
America?
Well, it's 2004.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I mean,
that's
In recent memory.
That's not a bad comparison. I'd say if you enjoyed Team America, probably turn out for this one.
It's true.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Starts with a musical.
Yep. Yeah. There's some music. Okay. So yeah. No. I mean, I'd recommend it. You know, but I feel like this was definitely there was a lot for me here. You know.
Certainly.
Yeah. I gotta say one more time, like just for an animation studio that I never heard of before and don't know where it came from, the animation is quite good. So yeah. Anyway.
Are we ready to get into spoiler
I think
territory?
we're ready to get into spoilers. I think you guys, if you want to check out this movie and you really want to get the full effect, I'd say stop here, you know, go check it out and come back and listen to the rest.
Yeah.
Spoilers going now. Megan, do you remember what you wanted to say?
Yeah, I do.
good.
I could have really done. I thought the food orgy at the end was
Jumping right to
funny at the beginning, and then it just
spiraled out of
leapt
control.
over that line.
Went on very
And I
long.
was like, as funny as this is, I could have done with a little less of that.
I think it was the lesbian taco strap-on that went through like 3 of them at once. Was like, okay.
It was so graphic.
Yeah, it was so graphic.
like,
It was like
when it started with just like, you know, like sausage going into bun. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like
It's
we're
kissing its little
They've been
tender.
talking about that for the
Yeah.
entire movie.
We're about there. And
Yeah,
then it's
yeah.
just like, oh, and now we've got some like some gay Western European. Like,
yeah, it
stereotypes
was
going on.
It was just a lot, and they did that because it was like, oh well, we can't show this when it's live people, so let's just like go
I
hog
suppose
wild
that would
with
earn
animation.
that would earn you an NC-17 rating,
Kind
which is
of.
not
I
so
almost
common
felt
anymore.
like they were worried that everything was going to be too serious and wrapped up too nicely, and they're like, hold on, let's just put this other thing.
It's like the equivalent of like a DreamWorks dance sequence, except this is their version. It's an orgy.
Right. It's the R-rated version
Yeah.
of the unneeded scene.
When
Right.
When
Of celebration.
So what I was surprised about, I think, was thematic consistency in the whole thing. Like they had their goal message and they stayed on point the whole time, which I was impressed by. But so what eventually happens is that this drug addict goes on bath salts and it like removes the veil, and suddenly he can see and understand the food because they're at a higher plane of understanding than the people are, going about their business.
I'm trying to imagine what else, like, you know, if we were all poisoned by trees someday. Maybe this is a cartoon, filthy food version of M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening. But yeah, Ray, you said that you read some stuff about the themes in this movie.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about what you read about the themes, what your expectations of the themes were, and what the themes actually were?
So that was the consistent thing that everybody was getting to, is this idea of like afterlife and where we go and our belief structures and culture and how that all comes together, and how they toyed with that kind of religious ideal of course they referred to the people as gods right away in the movie. So
you knew the themes were existential, and once the movie started you saw what the metaphor was. And the thing was, like, there was at least one trailer where they show the kitchen scene where the food is all being killed.
That's the only trailer I saw.
Yeah, so I knew, I was waiting for that scene to happen.
Because the expectation in my mind is like you get something kind of like Toy Story 3, where they're trapped out in this and they're all going to be incinerated. And so when you're thinking of like, oh yeah, they're going to get like a bunch of them are going to get murdered, and well, that wasn't really it at all.
Yeah, it went to many different places that it was impossible to predict.
Only one of them really got away.
Yeah, I wasn't anticipating the majority of the story to take place in the grocery store.
I mean, how awesome was Gum?
Oh, I like
Gum was
Gum.
Amazing.
A little Terminator moment.
And I feel like there are definitely some points where I was like, well, that's offensive, and it's supposed to be offensive,
right?
But I think Firewater was hilarious for how offensive of an Indian stereotype he was supposed to be.
Every single character was offensive. Let's just face it.
It was funny because they start in the song. They have the soy sauce with like the really like
thick
hacky
accent,
Asian accents, and then you're just like, okay, so this is like kind of racist. But then it goes to like, you know, oh, and here are like all the olives and they're Greek, and you're like, okay, and then they go to like all the sauerkraut and it's German and they're Nazis, and you're like, all right, so no one is safe. Okay, fine.
It's like Mike Tyson's Punch Out, where they're all cartoons of different countries.
Okay, so what was the name of there were. So the bagel and
Sammy Bagel Jr. and Kareem Abdul-Lavash.
So there's an ongoing like thing throughout the movie between these two characters that is basically about like Israel and the Gaza Strip. And honestly, I felt like that ultimately tied into the theme. I mean, so what I got out of the movie, you guys, ultimately, the theme of the movie was that all of these foods believe that there are these gods and that they need to follow these rules of these gods and be good so that they'll be eternally rewarded. And what they're realizing is there is no eternal reward. All that awaits them is death. And
that's
why
and so
everything
they're
breaks down into
and that's why at the
obscenity.
very end everybody's fucking everybody else, and it's all just dictated by, you know, the pleasure principle and its hedonism and
kill your gods.
Yes, and kill your gods, and that becomes the theme of the movie, and then suddenly everybody's fucking everybody else, and there's peace in the Middle East. So
how great, by the way, was the like Vietnam flashback? Like after the cards crash together, like a bag of flour falls on the ground. And coats
Saving Private
everything.
Ryan moment.
And it literally goes all Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
People's faces are falling.
The banana.
And like there's a can of mushrooms trying to like
a
trying
lot
to scoop his
of
kids
really
back in.
brilliant stuff happens visually in
And
this
the thing
movie.
is, you see it and you immediately know all of the references that they're making, and it's like, man, that's bad, but we do kind of murder our food if you consider all of your food sentient.
Right, what's really funny, a sausage is a living pig
creature.
that's been ground up and processed and turned into a sausage, and so then it's born again and now it's alive as a sausage. You know, a baby carrot is a full-grown carrot that's been chopped into pieces and then like whittled down to just like the middle part, you know, and now it's a baby carrot. Now it comes back to life. So it's kind of like, the metaphor, it's, you know, if you can overthink it and it stops making sense, you know,
Yeah.
it's like these things become sentient
Well,
once
like
again
the
when
chips.
they enter the
The
supermarket.
bag
in that
is
form.
alive, not
Oh,
the
that's
chips
right.
That's a
inside.
good point.
Well, and the same kind of thing is no, the chips were too. So the containers were also because
yeah,
remember they threw
the-
them in
the
the
Mentos
microwave.
thing.
Oh, there
And
was
just
that,
like-
but
and
the
just like the
potato
mints.
chips were not.
The tortilla chips were, I
The
suppose.
tortilla
yeah.
chips
we
were.
we
but
never
the potato
necessarily
chips
saw potato chips that were.
When they opened up, they like skewered.
That
But
became like
it's-
viscera or something.
Yeah.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, the mint container that
Yep.
they used to blow up that dude's face.
That's a good point. The rapper was a
he
little
rapper was
guy.
alive.
As soon
He
as
was
he
still
opened
the
up, then
little-
each of the mints had a face, and then he fell away
But what
like
we're trying to do
deflated.
here is what we're trying to do here is assign human or mammalian characteristics to
Yeah.
to what are essentially alien, like anthropomorphic.
right,
Whatever
yeah,
slang
I
is for
don't-
that scene.
And so
Yeah.
the thing is, think of it like a pea pod or something, where the outside is technically made of biological material, but all the things inside are also.
Right. Yeah.
organic,
So, I
so-
mean, we could just
We could argue the science of which part of these things are actually.
Yeah,
alive and-
sometimes the packaging is non-sentient and it's just packaging, and the hot dogs inside are alive, and sometimes the packaging, in the case of the chips, is what's alive, and the chips inside are not alive. And the thing is, it's not self-consistent. But
if
this is
you're-
a ridiculous movie, and it doesn't really need to be. It doesn't
Yeah.
undermine the
It
point
definitely didn't
of the movie.
ruin the.
Yeah, the science on this is out.
I was able to suspend disbelief the whole time.
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh, yeah,
me
for
too.
sure.
I was totally into it. Yeah.
I think
On-
we'd be. Oh, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, even the orgy at the end didn't really bother me that much. I really,
No,
It
it's
just
you
got
know, I
really
was-
graphic.
Yeah.
I was like,
I-
oh, okay.
you know, I'm
Oh my
I'm
God,
a
the
really terrible
condom.
person. Just doesn't bother me.
jeez.
Oh my god, I just remembered the condom.
Yeah, that was
Oh my
They did have
god.
some good other reveal
Oh,
parts
dude.
too, like when something sleeks out of another room in the druggie's apartment, and he's like, oh yeah, you just don't want to know how awful it is. And everyone's like, why? What do they do to you? And the whole time you can see from behind its face, I'm like, what is it? Oh God, what is it? And it turns out it's the toilet paper roll. And I don't know if you noticed, there's an empty roll
I did
hanging
notice.
behind it, like,
Yep.
like
He's
limp and dead.
Yep. He's just hung up there. Oh man.
So
yeah.
many great puns. It's like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs too, except like horrifying.
Really good. And they were all from the douche, and it was like great. It was like his running gag. They're always reacting to him. And then at the end, he's like scaring them off. He's like cutting them off for like doing it on purpose and saying, "You better not."
Right.
Like, oh man, yeah.
I wasn't expecting him to control a human like a puppet. Though.
Oh god, yeah, me
by,
neither.
by
Holy
inserting
crap.
himself into its rectum and then using its scrotum to control it.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Oh man. Remember the corn? There was a poop, and it had corn in it, and
Yes.
the corn
Oh, the
was
ghosts.
zombie. All the
That's right.
kernels
Zombie
were
ghosts.
zombies.
They could have ended it at the orgy scene, but they didn't. There's like a whole other part at the end,
Which I think is fantastic.
just
Yeah.
to make it super weird.
Just to make it as meta as possible, the food realizes that they are characters in a movie, figure out that there's actually a real world and that they're all being watched, and yes, create a Stargate out of a toilet seat.
So I suppose, in theory, all of those food products are wandering around in our world now, or something.
I
don't know.
And
ate
in
a lot
order
of
to-
them already.
And in order to find out for sure, we need to do bath
I
salts.
did. I
Yep.
did have a hot dog before we went in there.
Yeah, me too.
You know, we don't want to just rehash the movie. I want to bring it back to the origins of this podcast, which was about having notes.
Oh, yeah,
Is there
I forgot.
anything anybody would change about this movie?
Oh, I already said mine. I wouldn't have been as reliant on the
Fewer
cursing.
curses,
I have a
less
fix.
And then
orgy.
the
You might have brought it
backgrounds.
down to PG-13.
For me, it would have. I could have dealt with the same issue, which I think would have solved my other problem, which is that the level of discussion that they had on the issues they were trying to discuss wasn't there. And I think some of that was they were so reliant on this crass language and a lot of shock value that if they dialed that down a little bit, people
Where they made a
food-
point with the conversations rather than just having the
Yeah,
conversation.
like if they had delved a little bit deeper into it without doing the kind of thing that maybe we would have thought it was super insightful if we were baked off of our asses, but we weren't.
Yeah.
And I think part of the problem is it was paced a little too tight. There wasn't any time to slow down and explore a theme. It was just on the next thing right away.
It was certainly fast-paced overall, but I feel like at least they took enough time with the parts that were important for you to, you know, it didn't have the problem of, say, the movie Home,
Yeah.
where
you
the
didn't know what was important. And what
yeah, that movie is fast-paced, but also so evenly fast-paced throughout that the important parts go by just as quickly as the throwaway moments, and you're like, what was I supposed to feel something for that thing that happened 5 seconds ago that went by so quickly? Like,
No wonder
you know,
I fall asleep through that. Every
Yeah.
single time I've tried to watch it, I've
Yeah,
fallen
when
asleep.
you can't describe that importance, it also means that you can't focus and grab the things that you really need to grab.
They were more focused on jokes than figuring out what they were wanting to say. which is fine for this film.
I
guess.
feel like they knew what they wanted to say, and I feel like they said it. I don't know.
Okay.
You know, I don't know.
I feel
You
like
know,
you're the outlier on that.
you know what? I am the outlier, and frankly, I wouldn't have changed a thing about this movie. Certainly not any of your notes about it. I feel like every one of your notes about this movie would have just kind of like muddled the message and turned it into a PG-13 thing that would maybe
No, I
be
don't-
Dare you?
dull
That's a
by
vicious attack on our guests, Lars,
comparison.
and I will not abide this.
No, I just
Well, you know,
think
I disagree personally.
I just think that they were too reliant because you shouldn't notice cursing when it happens. Honestly, it should be a part of natural language. The one time in particular I noticed was when Brenda was saying goodbye to the taco, and she just randomly threw in the word fuck, and it had no purpose whatsoever. And that's where I say they're being too reliant. Like those kinds of moments.
And I mean, all right.
Just
and
because you can do it doesn't mean you necessarily
Okay,
have
and
to.
this is a fair point. This is a fair point. You know, and to a degree, they're putting more of it in to really earn that R rating and make sure that they're really solid in the
Oh,
R
for
rating.
sure.
I'm gonna take back one thing. If they had more going on in the background, I'd be fine with that.
Well-
You know, I personally am not someone who looks at the backgrounds as much in animated television or movies in general, but I have friends who are actually even like background designers who are really into backgrounds when they're watching stuff, and you know, yeah, like if there was more going on, if that was a thing that they did,
Well,
like that'd be fine.
For instance, like when I go back and watch Rugrats now, there's so much that happens in the background. Like you have the Daleks. The Daleks are
I never
actually
noticed that.
backgrounds in the Rugrats. And Tommy carries around a screwdriver that
Ha.
magically opens things.
That's awesome.
Because they were all fans of Doctor Who. And so it's things like that that I like. That I like catching, just like it doesn't even have to be the whole time, but like if you happen to start paying attention, it'll be something quick and funny that'll like, oh, that was cute. It would have added that much more to it.
I will excuse a little bit of how sparse the backgrounds were, just because it seems like this is a lower budget film.
For
and,
sure.
And they focused on exactly what they needed to focus on. And when it was time for them to have really cool moody lighting, like when he's flipping open the cookbook and all the knives turning, that scene was very effective.
Yeah.
Whereas it just didn't seem like they had the budget to light every scene exactly
And
as they wanted.
especially with a movie like this, why would you sink in more when this one could have really been sink or swim?
Yeah.
Yeah,
True. Yeah,
and
it's-
It
it's
really
a
depends on where
risky
the
move.
reactions
So,
go.
yeah,
And
if
we
you-
don't
if-
really know yet how well it's going to do because we're catching it right on the
If you're cutting your budget by having these sort of blurred out color card backgrounds in a lot of the talking scenes, you know, that's where you're going to save your money.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
You know.
that's how anime became as successfully as it became. They
Right.
did the same thing. Every corner they could cut, they cut.
There was that time with the toilet paper where we
Yeah.
did notice in the background. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
when they did have something in the background,
But
you
see,
noticed
but
it.
that wasn't
Yeah.
that wasn't active in the background. It was just something in the background.
Well,
Yeah,
like
and we
when they're
noticed it.
talking to Firewater, all the names of the bottles are like Soul Quest or Vision Quest whiskey and that kind of stuff. So they did it a little bit. So it didn't take. From
There just could have been more.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wanted it a little bit more dense with jokes
Yeah.
and things you could have picked out at the second viewing, which is why you guys were saying just watch it once.
Which is what would have made it something that you would want to buy or really look forward to once it hits Netflix or whatever.
But still a good film.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
effective exactly how they wanted it to be effective, and for that I would commend them.
Yeah, I think they did. I think they really achieved what they set out to achieve.
Yeah.
You know what? I thought of one other thing. I wish I could have seen. I don't want to say he was a bad antagonist, the douche, but seeing more because he basically his like inception as the antagonist comes when he crawls out of a dumpster in the back of the back room of the supermarket and finds out that he's leaking and he's now useless, but he's able to fill himself up on a juice box by emulating fellatio. But to see at least more than just him and the juice box back there, might have been better to see what people or what he might have experienced to become exactly what it was that he was, besides just a trash can and in some other trash.
Right. It could have played into the themes a little bit better. Like, it could have been the hell that he goes to.
Yeah.
And becomes stronger and comes out of it, like, changed. Which is kind of what they were going for, but didn't really...
Yeah,
wasn't that
he
effective.
just became a douche for the sake of... Well, he was already a douche, but...
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
But he became a monster
Literally,
for no real
figuratively-
reason.
Figuratively and namesake was a douche.
Yes.
Oh my. So at least he works on a bunch of levels. Except that he's just not a great antagonist. There was no kind of redemptive moment there. He just gets blown up at the end
Yeah.
with the manager of the supermarket.
Yeah.
Well, he's in that guy's butt.
That was a funny scene, though. Final thoughts?
Yeah, you know, I mean, let's try to unify our numeric ratings of this thing. What did you give it, a C plus?
I gave
Is
it a
that
C
like
plus.
was this like a 7.5?
Well, that's like a 78.
This
That
will give a
seems
6.
right. So
Yeah,
all,
6.
all three of you give it a 6, huh?
How about
I
you?
gave it
you
a
know what?
6.5.
Yeah, I give it a 7. I give it a 7.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, or you know, if you want to go by the original Nick and Lars Have Note scale, I mean, I'd probably give it a 10 because
Simple.
you know what? If I were like the executive in charge of making a filthy, you know, grocery store movie that's a metaphor for stuff, and they said, "What do you think, Lars? You're the EP. How are you gonna mess with this?" And I'm like, you know what? Nah, I'm not gonna move this dial. Keep it where it is. You know, I think this is you know pretty. I think you guys are really onto something. And I'm not gonna change what you're doing.
All right.
You know, so
Your
All
producer
yeah.
gets out of the way.
Yep. So yeah, but you know. When I compare to other movies and put them on like, you know, a bell curve or whatever, 7.
Yeah.
7.
Okay, great.
Anyway.
All right, I forgot the movies that we saw in the trailer.
Nick's trailer report.
.com.
Extra sexy tonight. Okay. So the trailers were War Dogs.
War Dogs. That
Oh,
looks
I'm
pretty funny.
excited about that
That
one.
looks
That's
legitimately pretty
definitely
good.
one that I want to see.
Finally, a comedy about Iraq.
Okay. Once again, I'm the outlier because I'm just kind of like, oh, it's based on something real. Boo.
Well, every time I see that trailer, I always get really sad because I'm like, when are they going to make a movie like that about women that do badass things like that?
Yeah, it's dumb.
Well,
Regardless,
I don't know.
it still looks
Technically-
funny and I
technically
will
they're
go
doing
see it.
bad things.
that is morally ambiguous, true.
Well, also,
Well, okay,
this
what
really
many of us would
happens.
consider to be
Not that that's an argument, because you could just find a real story of that stuff that
Oh,
women
like
did.
the
But
Night
remember-
Witches.
Yeah.
The Night Witches during World War
But
II.
remember also when you
Tell me about the Night Witches. I don't know what that is.
They were pilots that were dropping bombs on Germany, and their engines were so loud that they cut them off while in the coast
Whoa.
over Germany, drop bombs and then cut the engines back on so they could like sneak up on people.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like
sneak
that.
up on people in like B-52.
Okay, the next one was Kevin Hart's What Now?
Oh, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
stand-up special.
It appears to
Yeah.
be a stand-up special with a little bit of stuff around this.
Just a little bit of
Yep,
story around it.
it's a real big stadium that he's doing his stand-up set in.
Congratulations.
It was a
Kevin.
football stadium.
Yeah, good job, Kevin Hart.
Yeah, you got a lot of fans.
Yeah,
Good
you
job.
were
All
the
right.
rabbit in
Congratulations.
Secret Life of Pets.
That's right.
Uh-huh. Okay, and the third
That's all we
trailer,
gotta say about
the
that.
third trailer was Don't Breathe.
Ooh, actually, I actually leaned over to Ray during this one and was like, that looks creepy as fuck. Because I like what they did with the way it was shot, because it, like, with it being the black, or the
night shot.
night shot, and their eyes were all big and they were all up close, that hasn't really been explored in horror movies, and so I got really excited because
Since
I don't.
Blair Witch, at least.
Yeah.
Which they're making a remake.
For those of you who haven't seen the trailer, Don't Breathe is a upcoming horror movie about a couple of kids decide to rob an old man.
Who's
Supposedly
blind.
really
A
rich.
blind old man apparently has hundreds of thousands of dollars hidden in his house.
Not an original story.
And they
Okay.
wanted to do it at all.
Is
And that's the
is
thing
this a
is-
remake?
No. I'm
no,
just
no.
saying, like, that idea
That's
of
just a
like
common enough
the
premise.
kids do something crappy to the
Oh, yeah,
old
yeah.
the-
but
the-
here's
Right, but
The
it
premise of it.
But
yeah.
it turns out that even though he's blind, he will totally kill you, and he traps them all in his house. And now they're playing a game of cat and mouse hide and seek. Like basically, there's a blind old man here who will kill them if he can get their hands on him, and they're trying to escape. and it looks really spooky.
So here's the funny thing is, going into the trailer, I'm like, oh, so this is going to be the movie where, like, the girl doesn't really want to do it because they're like, it's kind of messed up to rob a blind guy. But, you know, my life sucks and I really need to get out of here. So we're going to rob this blind guy. Ugh. And then he proves that he's a badass because first time you see him do anything in the trailer, like one guy's got a gun on him because he heard them make some noise, and he like knocks the gun out of the dude's hand and like has him like, "Ugh," and you're like, okay, oh, he's gonna be like some kind of awesome old man. He's gonna like let them go, but the girl's gonna keep coming back. They're gonna share a rapport, and she's gonna like.
That's
perform.
what you were thinking when
Yeah.
you were watching the beginning of it?
Yeah, at the beginning.
I
And
knew
then-
from the beginning that it was gonna be
and then
a
and then
heist
he
gone wrong.
Then he just shoots the dude, and it was like, and then by the end of it, he's like nailing
Yeah,
boards
it
over
shows
windows,
them, like, locking all the windows. There's no escape.
trapping
They
them in
can't
the
get out.
basement.
Suddenly
And you
it's
know
a
what I
haunted
started
house.
immediately thinking of? Dead by Daylight.
Right.
That whole scene was, I'm like, this is exactly like that game. This is crazy.
There's nothing scarier in a suspense movie where there's like a monster or like a person trying to find you, but they're blind, they can't see you. This movie has a lot of that. Super tense.
And,
It's that
you know,
hide and seek
normally
game you play as a kid, but with life and death stakes.
And normally they say so much in horror movies that it's like, it's scarier if you don't really know what it is you're dealing with, but there can be something said for a really well-made
Oh, for sure.
like antagonist, especially one that's like, there really could be a badass old blind dude
Right.
who will murder the crap out of you for messing with him.
Okay.
Were there any more trailers?
No, that was
No,
it. It was
no,
just those three. And
okay.
let me say it was weird to see a movie and do a trailer report and not have any cartoons or really dumb kids movies.
That's true. Yeah, we
Yeah.
usually get a few of them.
Yeah, and one of them was a stand-up special. It's like, what?
Yeah, Kevin
Okay.
Hart. What do I have to say
Yeah,
about that?
yeah.
And the answer is we didn't have any.
I
To me,
know,
it just
right?
says they weren't quite sure who the audience was going to be for this.
Yeah.
A bunch of kids coming in who were like, yeah, I'm over 17.
Yeah. So a comedy and a scary movie.
Yeah.
And-
Although, hey, you know what? The theater seemed pretty full.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job,
That's a good
Sausage
sign.
Party. Yeah, you know what? Hey, Sausage Party, I hope you do well, because the better you do, the better the market is going to be for every other R-rated animated movie coming down the line. And
Which we have a personal stake in.
Nick and I both worked on what is called Nerdland, coming out of Titmouse. I'm not sure if they may be
They might
changing
change
the
the name.
name, but that might be out late this year, which
Are you going to review it yourself?
that would be weird to review a movie we worked
I don't
on,
think I could
wouldn't
do that.
it?
I'm too
yeah.
close to it.
No, we would need to.
We need to outsource.
Yeah.
Get two other people to do it.
Yeah.
And then release
There
it.
you go.
Yeah.
Maybe we could get some friends of ours to impersonate us and mock us mercilessly.
Yeah, that'll be
there
great.
you go.
Yeah.
See,
There'll be April Fool's episode.
Oh man. Oh dude, it's great. It's perfect.
Cool.
You know?
Look forward to
April
that.
Fools in autumn.
Yeah.
See, we have the best ideas.
Yeah, we
Okay. All right.
Should we do one more plug before we wrap this bad boy up?
Yeah. Again. So this is Megan and Ray have joined us tonight. They're from Noob Trek. Go check out the podcast, Noob Trek. The O's are zeros.
Yeah.
O's
You
are
just
zeros,
punch
we're
in
on-
Noob Trek into Google. It pops up on the top with the
But
O's.
it doesn't. There's
There's another one called Star Trek.
Dude,
No.
I punch
Yeah.
in N00B Trek, and I get it.
And it pops up.
I get-
first.
yeah,
Great.
easy.
And
You know?
it's on iTunes.
iTunes
And on Squarespace.
And
And we're working on that SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Is the idea that you would watch the episode first and then listen to your episode as a companion piece, or how
Well,
should people view this?
So
I would recommend doing it that way.
we
depends.
started it because even though I'm a nerd, I'd never watched Star Trek from beginning to end,
Okay.
or really, I've only seen pockets of it. So I was like, hey, I want to watch Star Trek. Maybe I'll do a podcast
Oh,
about
okay,
it.
that's just vaping. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Man,
We're all-
our first edit.
No, leave it in. Hey, we're huddled in the corner of this theater. You know.
All
we
So
almost got caught, you guys.
we are vaping.
So, yeah, I posted up on Facebook, like, hey, I want to do this. Ray got in touch and brought Tim on. And so what we do, basically, is we watch the episodes separately, and then we get back together and kind of review it like we do, like y'all are doing here.
If you can't get enough of me, and I don't know why you would ever not be able to get enough. Yeah. Ultimate Computer, and Bread and Circuses are the episodes of Noob Trek that I'm on. And speaking of Noob Trek, Tim is coming in next week for our third and final August episode of Nick and Lars Have Notes to help us review Kubo and the Two Strings,
That's right.
Leica's
I've heard
latest
it's great.
feature. I've said this before on the podcast, but man, I feel like each Leica movie just gets a little bit better. So, I'm just like each one just a little bit more, and I just want to keep supporting their efforts, just keep making these movies. Yep.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. So tune in next week for that one, guys. Thanks again to our guest stars.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank you
for
guys
having
so
us
much
on.
for
Yeah,
being
you
here.
got a little sign off.
We'll get the,
Say it now.
Excelsior.
we don't really
But
Okay.
have a sign off.
Okay.
Theos or zeros is really our biggest thing.
Okay. So the sign off for you guys is Theos or zeros, and there is no sign off.
And Lars is desperately trying to type in his
I'm
code.
desperately
so we can
trying
end
to
this. But you're doing it upside down.
I am doing it upside down because that's where the microphone is located on the phone. Otherwise, it'd be pointed at the ground. Anyway, we're end of the episode. Leave it in. We love you.
We
Bye.
never know how to end this.